Before we begin, join the warriors, subscribe now. Daily heavy metal drops. Volume. Shaped by the pressure, by the weight of endless days. Every failure, every fracture carved my weakness away. I learned silence as a language that only pain can teach. And every step through the darkness put power in my reach. No one handed me a future, no one paved the way. I built strength from every moment that tried to make me break. No fear in my system, no doubt in my veins. Only fire turning suffering into something that remains. I run will awakening, rising out of the pain. Every scar becomes a reason, every loss becomes a gain. I run will awakening, now I stand in the storm I made. I was broken into nothing, to be rebuilt unafraid. I stopped chasing approval from a world that never cared, because real strength is silent and built from what I dared. Every night became a battlefield inside my own mind, but I turned every defeat into power I could find. Now I walk through any chaos without looking back, because everything that tried to stop me only put me at attack. The past is just a shadow that I no longer feel, because everything I suffered turned my spirit into steel. I run will awakening, place where hope goes to die. From the silence, from the abyss. Darkness, where even memories disappeared. A wasteland built from broken promises and all the things I feared. I wandered through that empty kingdom with nothing left inside my hands. No direction, no tomorrow, only ruins in the sand. The weight of every failure hung around my neck like chains. Every step became a question, every breath became a pain. I looked into the endless blackness and it stared right back at me, waiting for me to surrender, waiting for me to bleed. But the void made one mistake. It thought I came there to die. I came there to transform. I came back from the void with fire burning in my soul. I walked through the end of everything and returned completely whole. I came back from the void. Now the darkness knows my name. Every piece of me they shattered came back stronger through the flames. I stopped running from my demons, stopped pretending they weren't real, because the wounds you try to hide are the wounds that never heal. So I faced every shadow, every ghost from yesterday, every voice that kept repeating that I'd never find a way. The battle wasn't out there, it was raging in my head, against the fear of being forgotten, against the fear of being dead. But courage isn't fearlessness, it's fighting while afraid. It's standing in the hurricane and refusing to break.
Now the void feels smaller. Now the chains are gone. Everything that tried to own me only made me carry on.
I came back from the void and I brought the fire home. I turned despair into a weapon and made the darkness my own. I came back from the void. Now the storm lives in my veins. Every scar became a story. Every loss became a game. I saw the bottom
And it's all me too.
I heard the darkness
Whisper the truth.
You are alone. You will fail. You will fall. It lied. I survived it all. The void doesn't destroy everyone. Some people learn its language. Some people learn its secrets. Then when they return, they're never the same again. The same again. I came back from the void like thunder breaks. the darkness called my name, not when the world gave up on me, not when there was still fire in my veins. Like a ghost beneath the rain, watching life move all around me while I drowned inside the pain. Every morning felt like warfare, every night another scar. I was fighting battles nobody saw beneath the person that I was. The weight kept getting heavier, the road kept getting steep, and every demon in the darkness promised I would never leave. But something deep inside my spirit kept refusing to let go. Flame still burning under 6 feet of snow. The pressure tried to crush me, the fear tried to control me, but every time I hit the ground I found another reason to rise. I refuse to die. When the darkness filled the sky, when the pain became a prison and the tears completely dry, I refuse to die. I kept the fire alive. Now the scars upon my body I survived. I refuse to die. I learned that strength is lonely and survival has a cost. Sometimes you have to lose yourself before you know you're lost. I walked through halls of silence where hope had long disappeared, but every step into the darkness made my purpose crystal clear. The world was trying to break me like a wave against a stone, but storms don't destroy mountains, they teach them how to stand alone. Now the pain has a new meaning, now the wounds have a new name. They aren't symbols of my weakness, they're medals from the flame. Now the shadows can't contain me, now the fear no longer stays. Every chapter of my suffering built the warrior I became. I refuse to surrender. It waited and waited, but I never did. For years, they only heard my silence. They never heard the war inside me. Now, they hear my roar. Shadows, watching life from underground. Every dream was met with laughter, every hope was beaten down. I was told to know my place, to stay quiet, stay afraid. But pressure was building in my chest with every sacrifice I made. They mistook my silence for weakness, my patience for defeat. Never knowing every insult was feeding something underneath. Something dangerous was growing, something they couldn't ignore. A fire hidden in the darkness, learning what it was made for. Every scar became a promise, every wound became a vow. The version they once looked down on is standing before them now. They heard my roar too late, now the silence is gone. I turned every painful memory into the reason I stay strong. They heard my roar too late, now the whole sky shakes. Everything they tried to bury was the thing they couldn't break. They heard my roar too late. They heard my roar too late. The nights became my training ground, the darkness became my guide. Every failure left a lesson, every lesson sharpened my mind. I stopped asking for approval, stopped begging to belong, because lions don't waste energy explaining why they're strong. The world kept throwing obstacles like chains around my feet, but chains can only hold you back until you learn to break free. Now I walk with battle scars like medals I have earned, because every bridge that burned behind me became a fire that helped me learn. The doubt is dead forever, the fear has lost control. Everything that tried to stop me built the fire in my soul. They heard my roar too late, now there's thunder in my veins. I survived the darkest chapters and transformed the pain. They heard my roar too late, now they finally understand. The quietest person in the room can become the strongest man. You laughed, I remember. You doubted, I remember. You laughed, I remember. And I used it all to build this version of me. The funny thing about strength, it grows when nobody is looking. In lonely nights, in silent battles, in moments where quitting would be easier, but you keep going anyway. They heard my roar too late. Now the mountains know my name. Every scar became a chapter. Every chapter became a flame. They heard my roar too late. But that's alright with me, because I didn't build this life for them to finally see. I built it to finally become free. They heard my roar too late, because warriors are forged in silence and revealed in battle. I am what pain created, not what the world expected, not what they wanted, but exactly what they made. I grew up inside the wreckage of promises that never stayed, watching people draw their lines, then disappear when skies turned gray. Every scar began as heartbreak. Every wound began as trust. Every dream I held too tightly eventually turned to dust. I kept searching for the answer somewhere beyond the endless night, but the darkness only laughed at me and vanished from my sight. So I stopped looking for a rescue, stopped waiting for the sun, and started building strength inside me, one battle at a time. Every fall became a lesson, every lesson left a mark, and every mark became a fire, burning deep inside the dark. I am what pain created. Every scar became my skin. Every battle I survived made me stronger from within. I am what pain created. I was forged inside the flame. Now the darkness that once owned me can't even say my name. I am what pain created. The pressure tried to crush me like a mountain on my chest, but pressure builds the strongest steel when it survives the test. I met every fear head on, every demon face to face, and every time they thought I'd fall, I found another gear to chase. The nights became my training ground, the silence became my guide. I learned more from my suffering than from every peaceful time. Now the mirror shows a warrior, not the person from before, because pain doesn't just wound you, sometimes it builds something more.
Thunder sounds familiar. Now the fire feels like home.
Everything that tried strength, but not the sacrifice. The confidence, but not the collapse. The victory, but not the years spent surviving. It introduced me to who I really was. I am the ghost of who I used to be. Still follows me, but he can't keep up anymore. Trying hard to understand why the world could be so ruthless, why the good things never stayed, why every road he ever trusted slowly crumbled into gray. He spent years chasing acceptance, years afraid to stand alone, building cages from opinions, calling them a home. He didn't know the storms were coming, he didn't know the price of pain, he didn't know that broken hearts could learn to dance inside the rain. Now I look back at that version like a distant memory, because the man I had to become killed the fear inside of me. The ghost of who I used to be still whispers from the past, but he doesn't recognize me now. I've changed too much at least. The ghost of who I used to be still remembers all the scars, but he never saw the warrior hiding underneath the door. The ghost of who I used to be. I learned that pain is a teacher, and loneliness a blade. Some people break beneath the pressure, others are remade. I stopped asking life for mercy, stopped waiting for relief, because strength is born in silence when nobody believes. Every loss became a staircase, every wound became a guide, leading me through darker valleys to the fire burning inside. Now the storms don't feel like enemies, now the chaos feels like home, because everything that tried to end me taught me how to stand alone. The fear is gone forever, the doubt has lost its voice. The man I am today was built from every painful choice. The ghost of loss. Because becoming stronger means saying goodbye to the person you used to be. Respect him. He survived long enough for me to become this. I stopped waiting to be saved because nobody was coming. And maybe that was the greatest gift of all. I stood at the shoreline, watching ships that never came, calling out into the silence, hoping someone knew my name. I carried worlds upon my shoulders while pretending I was fine, smiling through 1,000 battles fought inside this heart of mine. Every promise though temporary, every victory turned to dust. I learned that even good intentions can collapse beneath mistrust. And somewhere in the disappointment, something shifted deep inside. The moment I stopped looking outward was the moment I survived. No angels in the distance, no heroes in the rain, only a voice inside me saying, stand up again. I stopped waiting to be saved, and the chains began to break. The day I took responsibility was the day my soul awoke. I stopped waiting to be saved, now the fire lights my way. Every scar became a compass, every wound became my strength. The darkness wasn't my enemy, it was the place I learned to grow. The nights weren't there to destroy me, they were teaching me to cope. Every heartbreak built endurance, every failure built resolve. Every problem that seemed endless forced me to evolve. I found courage in the wreckage, I found purpose in the pain. I found power in the struggle and sunlight in the rain. Now I walk through every battle with my head held to the sky, because I know what I survived, and I know the reason why. The fear that once controlled me is a memory at best, because the strongest parts of me were born beneath the stress. I stopped waiting to be saved, truth we spend our lives searching for has been inside us the entire time. Left me for dead. But death wasn't ready for me. When everybody walked away, the same voices that once promised couldn't find a reason to stay. I was standing in the wreckage of a life I couldn't save, watching every dream collapse into another unmarked grave. The weight was getting heavier with every passing night. I was losing every battle, I was losing every fight. But somewhere in the darkness, beneath the pressure in my chest, a voice kept growing louder. This is not the end. When the world closed every door, when hope disappeared from sight, I found something deep inside me that refused to die. They left me for dead, but I came back stronger instead. Every scar became a reminder of the battles inside my head. They left me for dead. Now I'm standing where I bled. I turned every loss into power and every tear into lead. I learned more from my failures than I ever learned from success, because success never teaches you how to survive the emptiness. Every nightmare made me tougher, every heartbreak forged my skin. Every time they thought I'd disappear, I found a way to rise again. The fire wasn't born from victory, the fire was born from pain, from staring into rock bottom and climbing out through the flames. Now there's something in my spirit that no force can never break, because I survived the darkness that was built to make me fail. Now the fear has lost its power, now the chains have lost their hold. The boy who once felt hopeless has become impossible to fall. They recognize myself. Nights where the mirror reflected someone defeated, someone lost, someone broken. But broken isn't the same as finish. And finish isn't the same as dead. They left me for dead, but I became something else instead. A warrior forged through suffering, a king crowned by the dread. They left me for dead, but I survived every step. Now the darkness that once owned me lies beneath my feet instead. And I came back for my life. The grave they dug for me became the ground I stood on. They created a monster, and now they're afraid of what they made. I remember being different, trying hard to fit their mold, bending pieces of my spirit just to keep from feeling cold. Every insult left a fracture, every lie became a chain. Every time they push me downward, something dark alert my name. I kept swallowing the anger, kept pretending I was fine, while a war was growing silent in the shadows of my mind. They never saw the transformation, they only saw the scars appear. But monsters aren't born in darkness, they're created through the years. Every wound became a lesson, every lesson made me strong. Now the person they abandoned is the one they feared all along. They create a monster with the pain they left behind. Every betrayal built the fire, now it burns inside my eyes. They create a monster from the pieces of my soul. Now I'm stronger than the darkness that once tried to take control. I stopped looking for approval from a world that turned away, stopped expecting understanding from the people who betrayed. The pressure kept increasing like a mountain on my chest, but pressure builds the strongest steel when it survives the test. Now I walk through every battle with the confidence of scars, because nobody can hurt me like the things I've overcome so far. The fear that used to own me is buried somewhere in the past, and the weakness they once laughed at built a world to die. They create a monster, but they never understood that every stone they threw at me built me into something good. They create a monster. Now I carry no regret, because the fire of survival is the strongest weapon, yeah. Look at me now. The broken child is gone. The weak version is gone. The scared version is gone. You gave me pain, I gave it purpose. You gave me hatred, I gave it power. You gave me darkness, I learned to see through it. You create a monster. Now watch him rise. I don't hate who I became. I hate what it took to get here, because every scar tells a story, and every story cost me years. But if I had to walk through hell again to become who I am today, I'd do it all the same. They create a monster, and now the whole world knows my name. I turn suffering into strength, and turn the ashes into flame. They create a monster, but the monster isn't evil now. He's just a solver who refused to let the darkness take him down. They create a monster, and he isn't hiding anymore. The world sees a monster. I see a survivor rising. They never saw me coming. Not when I was broken. Not when I was bleeding. Not when I was building myself in the shadows. For years, just another face in the crowd, carrying storms behind my eyes while pretending to be proud. Nobody noticed the pressure, nobody heard the screams, nobody saw the battles hidden underneath my dreams. They judged me by my failures, they measured me by my falls, never knowing every setback was making me stand taller. While they laughed, I kept working. While they slept, I stayed awake, building something in the darkness that no one could ever take. mission to become powerful and strong. The road was cold and lonely, the nights were hard to survive, but pressure creates diamonds and pain keeps dreams alive. Every failure was a teacher, every scar became a map, showing me exactly where the stronger version was at. Now the mirror shows a fighter, someone forged through sacrifice, someone who embraced the struggle and turned suffering into life. Now the shadows move behind me, now the fear has disappeared. Everything that tried to stop me built the man standing here. They never saw me coming, now I'm impossible to hide. I walked to hell completely broken and came back fortified. They never saw me coming, now the fire's in my eyes. Every door that once was closed became another reason why. While they were doubting, I was building. While they were talking, I was working. While they were laughing, I was evolving. Now look who's standing. The truth is, the strongest people are often ignored at first, because greatness grows quietly in the dark, far away from applause, far away from attention, until one day it can no longer be ignored. They never saw me coming, now the whole world knows the sound of a man who turned his pain into power and refused to stay down. They never saw me coming, now the fire lights the sky. I became the storm they laughed at, and the reason they ask why. They never saw me coming, they never saw me coming, they never saw me coming. The funny thing about shadows is that nobody notices them until they become a star. If you've reached this far, you are a true warrior. Subscribe to our channel to follow our new songs every day. Let's go! Nights of silence, through battles no one saw, carrying every broken promise and every wound I wore. I've seen the weight of expectation turn hope into the ground, but I kept moving through the ashes when no one else was around. There were moments I felt empty, like my soul had lost lost its flame, but even in my lowest hour, something inside me stayed. Not loud, not proud, just steady, like a fire refusing to die, whispering through all the darkness. You were born to survive. Every step became a victory, every scar became my truth, and every loss I carried with me built the horror in my youth. This is the end of the line, but I made it through the fire. Every battle, every failure only lifted me higher. This is the end of the line, and I stand with no disguise. I am everything I suffered, but I'm still alive. I stopped searching for permission, stopped waiting for a sign, because the strongest kind of power is the one you build in time. I faced every storm that found me, I never turned away, and every night I thought I'd break, I learned another way. Now I carry all my suffering like armor on my skin, because everything that tried to end me only built me from within. The world may never understand the weight I had to bear, but I don't need their recognition to know I made it here.
Now the silence feels like freedom. Now the darkness feels like home. Because every road I walked in pain
Was a road I walked alone. This is the end of the line, but my story doesn't end. Every ending is a beginning when you refuse to bend. This is the end of the line, and I carry what I've been. Every scar is just a chapter in the war I lived with. No more running, no more fear, no more doubt. Just strength, just fire, just me. Standing at the end of everything. Maybe the line was never the end. Maybe it was just another beginning for those strong enough to keep walking anyway. This is the end of the line, but I turn pain into art. Every ending I survived only rebuild my heart. This is the end of the line, and I finally understand the strongest man in the world is the one who still stands. This is the end of the line. If you made it here, you are not just listening to music. You are part of the legacy.